Spain, two-time world champion. In the final between Argentina and Spain, Spain won. It was a one-sided show by Spain, very well deserved. Borges, Argentina gave up playing, right? Until overtime, they hadn't taken any shots on goal, not even on target, so there were no saves, not even an attempt to shoot at the goal, so it was deserved. Spain took more than 20 shots, right? Dibu Martinez made great saves. He was the standout of the match up until the moment of Spain's goal by Ferran Torres, assisted by Nico Williams. Spain, two-time champions, very well deserved. Give us your take on the final as well, how Spain made it to the final. Yeah, in the end, it was deserved, right?
Right. Rudia, that's the word, man, deserving, right? Both teams really deserved, of course, to make it to the final. We talked a lot about France as the big favorite, but Spain, in the match against France, managed to dominate. And that's what they did again in the final, right? Showing in the final that they weren't psychologically shaken by the enormity of the occasion. No, Spain came to the final very calm, came to play good soccer, and that's exactly what they did, right? During the 90 minutes of regular time, Spain dominated the match and didn't let Argentina cross the halfway line. Scaloni made some changes both before the match for the starting lineup and during the game as well to focus much more on the defensive system than the offensive one. Meanwhile, Luis de la Fuente was only thinking about winning the game. I'm not saying Scaloni is wrong. After all, who am I? Obviously, right? But yeah, he really focused on the defensive side in today's match, and maybe that was a mistake, right? We, Argentina, have the talent to achieve much more. We have Messi, Julio Alvarez, De Paul, Enzo Fernandez, Mac McAllister, players who are very strong in attack. So maybe he didn't need to focus so much on defense exclusively, and maybe he could have attacked a bit more, yeah, but he prioritized defense a lot more, not leaving space for Lamine Yamal, not leaving space for Baena, and he did that very well. But only up to a certain point, right? Because he did that very well during the 90 minutes despite Spain's pressure, we didn't have many big chances. Dibu Martinez had work to do, but for the most part, the shots were right at him in the middle of the goal, big chances, but right at Dibu. Maybe the only one was Yamal's free kick near the end when he shot to Dibu's corner and Dibu stretched to save it.
There's also Marino's header, which is a great save, right?
Yes, very good. It was really good.
Up until then, some weird saves. He wasn't holding on to the ball. He was pushing it to the side and it would go the other way. It wasn't like, wow, he's the man of the match, but he was defending. Some weird saves.
It seemed like he was trying to do too much with a ball hit straight at him, so sometimes it got complicated, but anyway, Dibu did well in the match, right? But then something happens that changes the game in extra time, which is the sending off of Enzo Fernandez, still in stoppage time of the regular second half. Yeah, and it was even a childish sending off, kind of unnecessary. He went in hard on Cubasinho, a ball that was out in the middle of the field. He pushed it too far ahead, and then he went into a challenge, going in hard on Cubasinho. He spins around in the air, and then falls on his back on the ground, and then he gets his second yellow card and is sent off, and that completely changes the game for Argentina. Because Scaloni had already made 5 substitutions, so he could only make 1 more in extra time, leaving Argentina with 1 less player. So what does he do? He pulls back, takes off Rony Alvarez for defender Sinise, swapping a striker for a defender to shut up shop and just get through the first half of extra time, already showing Spain would win. Yeah, they were better, attacked more, and created more chances.
There was even a goal that we thought was wrongly disallowed. From Spain, right, where they called a foul. I think it was Ferran Torres on Otamendi. But honestly, it was just a very light step, right? Then the ball ends up with Nico Williams, who scores the goal, but it's disallowed because of that foul. For me, that didn't exist, and then came the pressure. But Spain didn't fall into the trap of complaining. They kept playing.
Nico Williams deserved a goal, right? For everything we've talked about here on our live stream too, reacting to the game on Lance. A guy who was a starter in the Euros, did great in the Euro, then had a transfer to Barcelona cancelled in last year's window in the middle of last year, and then his performance dropped a lot. At Athletic Bilbao, he lost his starting spot for Spain. He deserved redemption, but in the end, that goal was disallowed. But then Spain comes back for the second half of extra time, and in less than a minute, they already open the scoring with a goal from Ferran Torres, right? Who's a guy that's heavily criticized by Barcelona fans. He's a player who has his qualities, has his characteristics, but misses a lot of goals, and had even missed some too. Yes. In the first half of extra time, things could have changed earlier, but he waited and scored after a play by substitutes. Credit goes to Luis de la Fuente, who did this nearly the entire campaign, largely thanks to Mikel Merino. But then with Pedro Porro as well, right, who wasn't a starter at first, it was Marcos Llorente, then he earned the starting spot throughout the campaign, and now with the assist from Mikel. He headed it back, Ferran Torres struck hard and scored first. Argentina didn't have much strength. They kept trying, kept clearing, started to lift the ball into the box and had a great chance. But it fell to the wrong guy. It fell to Juliano's foot. Simeone doesn't score many goals and has plenty of grit but little technique. The ball landed at his foot near the 6-yard box, but he blasted it over, wasting Argentina's only big chance in stoppage time of the second half of extra time.
The only shot on goal by Argentina in the game, right?
And it wasn't even on target, even worse.
Exactly. And it was also De La Fuente's intuition that Spain was going to go after Argentina. He takes out Ayazabo, puts in Ferran Torres and says, man, I really need a guy who's a bit more of an attacker. And it's exactly from him. So we did a lot. De La Fuente was very important. He made the right changes. Nico Williams' assists and the 2 substitutes helped set up the goal.
Yes. And the World Cup final always has a lot of unique dynamics, right? Yeah, we saw Lamine Yamal, who, like in every World Cup, pretty much didn't shine, right? He had a below-par game compared to what we expected. We saw Messi very quiet until the second half of extra time, until after Spain's goal. But we see heroes in a way, not unlikely, but they weren't among the main ones expected to be heroes, right? Ferran Torres coming off the bench, Nico Williams playing really well, Edmundo Martins also having a good match. Yeah, with Barsi and Barsi Rodri too. An amazing duo. Center back and defensive midfielder playing really well, Rodri. He was even chosen as the best player of the World Cup, which I think is somewhat controversial, but I do think he really had a great World Cup. Yeah, we see Mbappe, who will stay, right? He's now the top scorer until the next World Cup, passing Messi, right? That was in yesterday's third place match, correct?
I think for Infantino, right? The president of FIFA, he would have liked to have Messi because of everything that happened, all the controversies, right? He would have liked to have Messi as the top scorer, at least for the next 4 years, and it would have been an outright record if Messi had kept it, right? It was a record that probably in the next World Cup Mbappe would already take care of, right? But Mbappe ended up scoring 2 goals against England, so he got that title, right? With that title of the top scorer in World Cup history, if Messi had scored a goal, he would have tied, but he didn't, right? And I think there's a bit of disappointment, right? Because I think it would actually be cool for Messi to be the top scorer. What didn't make sense was Klose as the top scorer.
So I think that
whether it's with Messi or Mbappe, it's in good hands, right?
for sure, they're great stars, right, man? And Messi had a great World Cup, especially at the beginning. Then he ended up facing tougher matches, more tense games, and longer ones too. At a certain point, that made a difference. The physical side of Argentina started to matter too. When you play more games just chasing the ball, after having played 60 minutes more, 30 minutes more than your previous opponents, and with Spain too, of course, I think that ends up making a big difference, right? And Argentina really struggled physically to hold on, playing with a 5-3-1 in extra time, with only Messi lost up front. So Argentina had a lot of difficulty and could have played much better. Spain, for what they set out to do on the field and for what they did on the field, they really deserve the title.
And speaking of Yamal, he didn't stand out much, but I think that's just a reflection of the whole Spanish team. Spain has Yamal open on the right. He's the guy who goes one-on-one, who dribbles, who goes forward. He's pure talent, right? That's the kind of flair we like to see. And Spain has that passing style of football, so they win the midfield easily, moving the ball around, and sometimes you don't even need Yamal's talent to solve things. Spain didn't need his talent to win the games. Spain figured things out throughout the World Cup, and they only conceded a goal, man, just one goal. Yeah, he broke the record, right? Nay Simon broke the record for the longest time without conceding a goal, right? He's the guy who went the longest without letting in a goal in the World Cup. So this title for Spain is very well deserved. Yeah, for the fans who were rooting against Argentina, they were really happy, right? No doubt about it. A fourth title. Imagine Argentina as four-time champions. They would get really close to Brazil, right? With one more title, they would be tied with us as five-time champions, but it didn't happen, right? Brazil goes into another World Cup as the only five-time champion. Italy and Germany with 4 titles. Argentina with 3. Now we have Uruguay and Spain with 2 titles each. Am I forgetting someone? Oh, and England with 1 title. France with 2 titles as well, right? So that's it, right? Our World Cup coverage wraps up here. Another Lance coverage. Yeah, follow us on social media, subscribe to our channel, leave a like, check out the articles on our website. It's really cool and very important too. Follow us on social media, Lance Digital and Lance, all right? Thank you so much for being here. The cup was amazing, and stay tuned because there's a lot more here at Lance. Thanks.